So, Stephanie White up here, mic'd up. Let's go.
Don't be trying to get athletic. Just be bullied. Good. Good. Yeah. Yeah, KK. Come on, Yellow. Yeah, tell him, Mike. Come on. Great cut. Great cut. Good. Mismatch. Yes. Good, Didi. Good, Tori. Good. Nice. Yes. Good. Good.
Watch that clip again. Good, yeah. Break cut, good. That's supposed to be inspiring content. That's what the Indiana Fever thought would get fans excited about their season opener. Instead, what they got was instant regret. Within hours of posting that mic'd up practice footage of Stephanie White, the comments section turned into a massacre. And 3 days before their first game, they're still scrambling to sell 1,700 remaining tickets for a matchup that would have sold out instantly last year. This isn't just a bad marketing decision. This is a franchise that fundamentally misunderstands what their fans actually want to see. And the numbers prove it.
All right, black and white sports supporters, let's talk about the Indiana Fever. Before we jump right into that, I want to thank Jason Whitlock. Guys, you can go over and check out the latest episode of Fearless. Your boy was on there, crushing the WNBA into oblivion. I was like, man, this is the WNBA's worst nightmare. Putting Jason Whitlock and Rodrance together. Bad idea. Well, there's no mercy in this dojo. Period.
Before we get into just how badly this backfired, you need to understand where this guy is coming from. He was just on Jason Whitlock's show, and his exact words were rushing the WNBA into oblivion. That's not hyperbole for clicks. That's a content creator who built his audience by calling out exactly this kind of tone-deaf decision-making. And when he says there's no mercy in this dojo, he means the Fever are about to get exposed for prioritizing the wrong people. Because here's what the Fever just did. They waited until the absolute last possible moment to announce their roster cuts. Grace Berger, gone. Temi Fagbenle, gone. Kayana Traylor, trapdoored out. These decisions came so late that fans barely had time to process who's actually on the team. And then, instead of promoting the players people paid to see, they dropped a marketing video centered entirely on their head coach.
Okay. So anyway, I'm not sure what that was supposed to accomplish. Lot of feedback. Some might call this instant regret. Why does it feel like the Fever are running a full PR campaign for Stephanie White instead of promoting the actual players people paid to see? I'm sure she's a nice person, but she is not the franchise superstar, nor do fans pay to watch her. Fans are not stupid. Stop trying to force her on the fan base. We decide if she deserves support once we see the offense and how CC is being used. Not parked in a corner, getting iced out again.
That reaction right there tells you everything. I'm not sure what that was supposed to accomplish. Because nobody watching that video learned anything. There's no offensive strategy revealed. No insight into how Caitlin Clark will be used differently this season. Just generic coaching phrases and cheerleading. Good Needy, good Tori, nice, yes. And the fan response was immediate and brutal. Why did it feel like the Fever running a full PR campaign for Stephanie White instead of promoting the actual players people paid to see? That's not one random hater. That's the dominant sentiment across multiple platforms. Another comment cut even deeper. I'm sure she's a nice person, but she is not the franchise superstar. Do fans pay to watch her? The answer is obviously no. But the Fever keep acting like if they just show Stephanie White enough times, fans will forget that they passed on Sandy Brondello. You know, the coach who won a championship with the New York Liberty 2 years ago. The coach who's been publicly vocal about adoring Caitlin Clark. The coach with actual experience managing multiple superstars in a high-pressure media market.
Trying to manufacture approval through non-stop propaganda videos and put that energy into the product and on the court instead. Damn. D-Zam, shiznit. Wow. Crushed. You still don't get why your ticket prices were dropped. Wow. Yeah, the ticket prices coming up a little light, folks. They are. Yeah. Mostly cheerleading. Need a Mike Ditka woman coach out there. Okay. Guys, You remember when your boy went out there? Remember when Sandy Brondello was fired? And I came on here and was like, the Fever need to go get her like right now, immediately. She had all this experience. Number one, she adores Caitlin Clark and has been very vocal about that. Adores her. Number two, used to dealing with superstars.
Listen to this feedback carefully, because this is where it gets personal for fans. Fans are not stupid. Stop trying to force her on the fan base. We decide if she deserves support once we see the offense and how CC is being used, not parked in a corner getting iced out again. That last part matters. Not parked in a corner. That's a direct reference to what happened last season under Christie's sides, when Caitlin Clark spent stretches of crucial games standing in the corner while inferior players dominated possessions. And now fans are watching Stephanie White's practice footage looking for any evidence that the offense will be different. They're not finding it. One commenter wrote, "Stop trying to manufacture approval through non-stop propaganda videos and put that energy into the product on the court instead." Another said simply, "She isn't it." And then this one, which might be the most damning. "You still don't get why your ticket prices were dropped, because that's the real story here. The Fever had to drop ticket prices for a Caitlin Clark game in the season opener. That should be impossible. Last year, people were paying premium prices on the secondary market just to watch her play. This year, 3.5 days out from the first game, 1,700 tickets remain unsold."
Setting up in New York, Sabrina, Brianna, Jonquel Jones, all on the same team. Won a championship 2 years ago. Nah, the Indiana Fever's not doing that. Also, I said, why don't you hire some NBA front office people, including an NBA coach? Nope, can't do that either. This year, I no longer follow the Fever. Why? Because of the coach and the front office. I can't say this has happened for me in the past. With the Dolphins, Heat, Hurricanes, it's ride or die. Granted, they had issues with the front office and coaches, but never like the Fever. Bye. Wow. Wow. The person is killing any kind of flair and brilliance in this team. This woman is not good enough to coach half of these players. That's why she can't make plays work for Clark, who would play CC as a forward, the clueless hack would. Wow.
Now we're getting to the root of the problem. This content creator is explaining why he personally stopped following the Fever, and his reasoning represents a growing segment of the fan base. Why? Because of the coach and the front office. Think about what that means. This is someone who stayed loyal through coaching issues with other teams he follows. The Miami Dolphins, the Miami Hurricanes, ride or die fandom. But he can't do it with the Fever. And his explanation is devastating. Never liked the Fever. Why? The person is killing any kind of flair and brilliance in this team. Then it gets worse. This woman is not good enough to coach half of these players. That's why she can't make plays work for Clark. Who would play CC as a forward? A clueless hack would. That's not coming from someone who hates the WNBA. That's coming from someone who wanted to support this team and can't justify it anymore. And he's not alone. The comment comparing Stephanie White to Dylan Mulvaney promoting Bud Light should terrify the Fever front office. Because in case you don't remember, Bud Light's actual business value has never remotely recovered from that situation. Not even close.
Hey, Fever franchise. Stephanie White promoting the Fever franchise is like Dylan Mulvaney promoting Bud Light. Good luck. Damn. In case you guys do not know, Bud Light's actual worth as a business has never remotely recovered from the Dylan Mulvaney situation. Not even remotely. Wow. The league allowed cheap shots on the biggest star in the league history. They are literally complicit. It left most viewers unable to watch the garbage being played, and they aren't coming back. The league still doesn't promote her. They prefer Wilson and SQ and others. Pathetic. I would say that I don't think they promote Sabrina Ionescu enough, to be quite honest with you, but she's white and straight, so there's that. One of the worst head coaches of the WNBA. Guys, not good. You heard them. See you Saturday for the season opener. feverbasketball.com/tickets.
And this is where the Fever's desperation becomes visible. They know they're losing the fan base. They know ticket sales are soft, so what do? They put out a last-minute promotional video featuring Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham trying to sell tickets. "Hey guys, season opener Saturday. Big day. 1, 2, 3, see you then." It's not a bad video, but the fact that they needed to make it at all is the story. This video dropped on May 5th. The game is May 10th, and at that point, roughly 1,700 tickets remained for a game that sold out nearly instantly the year before. Let that sink in. The biggest star in WNBA history, playing her first home game of the season, and they're running emergency promotional content 3 days out because they can't fill the building. The creator makes this point perfectly. "I can't make those videos because it's not happening." He's talking about the content he used to create, showing how much people were willing to pay for Fever tickets. Premium prices, secondary market insanity, fans desperate to see Caitlin Clark play. That market doesn't exist anymore, not because interest in Caitlin declined, because trust in the organization collapsed.
As it is, what is this? It's the 6th, so they put this up yesterday afternoon, and it's Caitlin Clark, and it's let's just play like 5
All right,
seconds.
guys, season opener Saturday.
Saturday,
You
big
better be
night.
there.
1
Be
p.m.
loud.
See you then.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the video. I do. But I think at last check, roughly 1,600 or 1,700 tickets remain for a game that sold out nearly instantly last year, as did the year before. This year, three and a half days out from the game, tickets remain. Again, it will sell out. They've had to drop ticket prices. People were paying up for tickets. Remember, I was making videos talking about how much people were willing to pay for tickets? Sorry? Not sorry? Question mark? I mean, I can't make those videos because it's not happening.
Now pay attention to this prediction, because it's about to become the measuring stick for Stephanie White's entire tenure. If we look up at the 15-game mark in this team at 7-8, look out. 15 games, 7 wins, 8 losses, that's the line. And here's why that matters. The Fever went 11-13 in the first half of last season under Christie's sides before making adjustments. If Stephanie White can't at least match that pace with a more experienced roster, with Caitlin Clark entering her second year, with Aaliyah Boston having a full season under her belt, then what exactly was the point of this coaching change? The creator's tone when he says "look out" tells you everything. That's not a prediction of success, that's a warning. Because if this team stumbles out of the gate, if the offense looks stagnant, if Caitlin Clark is standing in corners again, the backlash won't just be about Stephanie White. It'll be about the entire front office that chose her over more qualified candidates.
That GM survey was ridiculous yesterday, too. Tell me what you think in the comments section, black and white sports supporters. Boy, the fandom, I got to tell you, if we look up at the 15-game mark, I was talking to Ben Daniel. Go subscribe. I was talking to him earlier. If we look up at the 15...
And that's where we are. The Indiana Fever, 3 days before their season opener, desperately trying to convince fans that everything's fine. Running PR campaigns for their coach instead of their players. Dropping ticket prices for a Caitlin Clark game. Posting emergency promotional content. All while the comment sections fill up with former supporters explaining exactly why they're walking away. Here's what makes this situation so significant, and why it matters beyond just one team's marketing failures. The Indiana Fever had everything. They won the lottery. They got the first overall pick in a draft featuring the most marketable player in women's basketball history. Caitlin Clark didn't just bring talent. She brought an entire fan base that had never watched the WNBA before. Casual sports fans. Iowa alumni. People who appreciated her game regardless of gender. That's a gift that franchises spend decades trying to build. And what did the Fever do with it? They hired Christy Sides, a coach with no head coaching experience at the professional level, to manage the highest pressure situation in league history. When that predictably struggled, they fired her. But instead of going after the most qualified replacement available, they hired Stephanie White, whose primary qualifications seemed to be that she's from Indiana and played at Purdue. Sandy Brondello was available. She'd just won a championship with the New York Liberty in 2023. She has years of experience managing multiple star players in the league's biggest media market. She's been publicly enthusiastic about Caitlin Clark's game, and the Fever didn't even seriously pursue her. Why? Because they prioritized local connections over actual coaching competence. But it gets worse. This content creator made a point that nobody in the Fever front office wanted to hear. Why not hire NBA coaching staff? Why not bring in someone from the men's game who's dealt with superstar management, offensive systems that actually create space for elite shooters, media pressure at the highest level? The answer is that the WNBA's institutional culture won't allow it. They'd rather promote from within, even when the internal options are clearly inferior, than admit that men's basketball has developed more sophisticated coaching than women's basketball. And fans see it. That's the part the league keeps missing. These aren't casual observers who'll accept whatever product gets put in front of them. These are people who watch NBA games, college basketball, international competitions. They know what good coaching looks like. They know what effective offensive systems look like. And when they watch Stephanie White's practice footage showing zero innovation, zero creativity, just generic encouragement and basic drills, they recognize it for what it is. The comment that called her one of the worst head coaches of the WNBA might sound harsh, but it's based on actual evidence. Her previous head coaching stint with the Fever from 2015 to 2016 produced a 37-31 record across 2 seasons. That's fine. That's mediocre. That's not what you hire when you have a generational talent who needs elite coaching to maximize her impact. Now look at the broader context. The WNBA just had its best season ever in terms of visibility, largely because of Caitlin Clark. Ratings were up, attendance was up, merchandise sales exploded. The league finally had mainstream attention. And instead of capitalizing on that momentum, instead of making smart decisions to build on that foundation, franchises like the Fever are actively squandering it. Think about the message this sends to potential fans. You show up because you're interested in watching Caitlin Clark play basketball at the highest level. You buy tickets, you invest your time and money, and what you get is a team that parks their best player in the corner, runs predictable offense, and then promotes their coach instead of their stars. How long do you think those fans stick around? The comparison to Bud Light isn't just a cheap shot, it's a legitimate warning. Bud Light had decades of brand loyalty, massive market share, cultural relevance. One bad marketing decision destroyed all of it. The company's value dropped billions of dollars. They lost their position as America's top-selling beer. And they've never recovered. Not even close. The Fever are on the same path. They had unprecedented fan enthusiasm, sold-out arenas, national media coverage, a chance to build something sustainable. And they're throwing it away by making decisions that prioritize internal politics over actual competence, by promoting coaches who don't deserve the position, by ignoring fan feedback, by running propaganda campaigns instead of delivering a quality product. And here's the thing that should terrify the league office. This isn't just happening in Indiana. This is a preview of what happens when the WNBA's institutional culture collides with mainstream expectations. Fans who come from other sports don't care about your internal politics. They don't care that you want to promote women's basketball coaches over men's basketball coaches. They don't care about your commitment to developing talent from within the league. They care about one thing. Is the product good? Right now, for the Indiana Fever, the answer is no. Not because Caitlin Clark isn't talented enough. Not because the roster lacks pieces. But because the organization is making terrible decisions and then trying to gaslight fans into accepting them. The mic'd-up practice footage of Stephanie White wasn't content. It was propaganda. And fans rejected it immediately because they're not stupid. So what happens next? The season opener is in 3 days. Those 1,700 remaining tickets will probably sell eventually. The building will likely be full. But the damage is done. The Fever have already shown their hand. They've already revealed that they don't understand their own fan base. They've already demonstrated that they'll prioritize protecting Stephanie White over actually addressing legitimate concerns about offensive strategy and player usage. And when the season starts, when the games actually matter, fans are going to be watching with a critical eye. Every time Caitlin Clark stands in the corner. Every time the offense looks stagnant. Every time Stephanie White makes a questionable substitution or runs a predictable play. The patience is gone. The benefit of the doubt is gone. The Fever used all of that up with their terrible hiring decision and their even worse PR campaign. 15 games. 7 and 8. That's the line. If the Fever hit that mark and they're below 500 after 15 games, the backlash will be nuclear. Because at that point, it's not about giving the coach time to implement her system. It's not about roster chemistry or injury luck. It's about a franchise that had every advantage and still couldn't get out of its own way. The WNBA's worst nightmare isn't critics like Jason Whitlock. It's not content creators who point out the league's failures. It's fans who show up wanting to love the product and leave disappointed. Those are the people who don't come back. Those are the people who tell their friends it's not worth watching. Those are the people who represent the difference between sustainable growth and a temporary ratings spike that disappears as quickly as it arrived. So here's the question you need to answer in the comments. Is Stephanie White the right coach for this moment, or did the Fever blow their best chance at building something special? Because based on everything we've seen so far, based on the fan reaction, based on the soft ticket sales and the desperate promotional videos, it's not looking good. Tell me if you think this team hits 7-8 after 15 games, or if they prove the doubters wrong.